So welcome everyone here into supporting you through stress. It is my pleasure, Hake, to welcome you into this opportunity, this webinar that has the intention to support you with knowledge, understanding, and ways in which you can apply into your life simple and maybe a little less simple ways that you can find stress to be something that begins to melt away rather than become an abundance. So Cristiano Percoco is here with me. I'm going to introduce him very soon to let you guys know who he is and what he is going to be talking to you about. First, I just wanted to let you know what this is going to look like. So I'm going to, in a second, explain a little bit more. But first, Cristiano is going to be speaking on his topic, which is going to be related to the physiological effects of stress and how it relates to the body, and how it also comes into the mind and such in it. And he'll be talking about his understandings of it and what he's learned about it and how to support you through it. And then I'll be talking more about the psychological, mental aspects. And hopefully what we'll do is we'll have some time at the end to go through a Q&A. So if you have any questions, or especially if you have any areas that you'd like to have clarified, that would be the perfect time. And I'd like you now to direct your attention to the chat. So can everyone see that there's been that I've put hello in there? So there is a chat at the bottom of this screen that when you click on it, it opens up. Oh, great! Sylvia has responded. She knows what she's doing. Wonderful. So what the importance of that is to create community, create connection in what we're saying and what we're doing by you guys joining in. So if I ask a question, like let's say, has everyone or anyone experienced stress? You might put in yes. And so that way we can find that actually it's not just you who's going through this. It's not just you who's alone in this. It's other people. So if a question's asked, feel free to comment there. Okay. So that is enough of the technical side. So I wanted to introduce Cristiano. He is a very good friend of mine. We met as I was working in a health store about a year ago, and I was a curious learner. I wanted to learn as much as I could. And one day I had the pleasure of speaking on the phone with Cristiano, and he started telling me about probiotics. And then I asked more, and he started telling me about gut health. And then he started telling me more, and a 5-minute conversation turned into a half-an-hour conversation, and I realized I'd forgotten I was at work. And I'm so grateful for all that he's taught me, all that he's shown to me, and he's inspired me tremendously. And so without further ado, I'd like you to be introduced to Cristiano Percoco, and he's going to tell you all about why he's here.
Hi guys, it's a pleasure to be here. Before I start, Heike reminded me to remind you guys to let you know that this video is actually being recorded, and if it's okay with all of you for the recording to take place. Yeah, nice, thumbs up. Yeah. All right, okay. So thank you, Heike, for your kind and generous words. As always, you are certainly an inspiration to me as well, and to many other people. So thank you for being you. That's a wonderful thing. A massive thank you for you guys as well for having us stepped into the unknown tonight, looking for some answers. And I truly wish that you will get some good insights to take home, where you might be home already, that will support you through difficult times and might be able to improve your life journey. because that's what we will be doing tonight. We try to improve your life experience by helping you, guiding through some difficult time and some stressful times. So for those of you guys who do not know me, my name is Cristiano Percoco. I'm a nutritional therapist. I trained at the University of Westminster in London, graduated in 2014. And since then, I've been practicing in a couple of clinics in London, but mainly down here in Bournemouth, where I happily live. And I've specialized on digestive issues, brain function, nervous system problems. I also have an NTC certificate, which allows me to work with cancer patients during and after treatments. I've also specialized on weight management and hormonal balance. So these ones are the areas that I've mostly specialized on. So I think that's, to be honest with you, I'm one of the best candidates to talk to you guys about stress, because one of the very first time I've experienced a major stress event, I was aged 2. And because of a huge trauma, I developed a major stutter. And before of that, I was, for 6 months of my life, I was mute. I couldn't speak. When the speech came back, it came back with a major stutter. So that involved all sorts of emotional issues and self-esteem while growing up. Fast forwarding that into the modern era, which is about 16 years ago, I had a daughter, but I kind of soon split up with her mother. And being a single daddy wasn't the easiest thing on this planet. I also had to manage a very stressful job. I was managing restaurants, nightclubs, cocktail bars, doing 70 hours per week. That was on average. Working on weekends, nights, night shift, late morning, all sorts. And that took me into a very deep, stressful time of my life, which I believe was the most stressful time of my life, really. But that was a kind of a necessary for me to find my own way out, because when you cannot go any more downwards, the only way is up. And I was lucky enough to have a major insight that allowed me to come out from my depressed, very stressful states. I had other conditions in place, and I went to study nutrition at the University of Westminster. So I share this little bit of, a snapshot of my, this few stressful time of my life, just to let you know that no one is immune to stress. We all experience stress to certain degrees, and stress literally hides everywhere. Hides when we are stuck in traffic, hides when we have got jobs interviews, when we have health issues, when we've got a bully co-worker. So it is literally impossible to avoid. And the second reason why I shared that little story with you about me is to let you know that if you are willing to take action and make some changes, everything is possible. I've seen that happening with all my clients. When you put efforts and into what you want to achieve, which is getting better, having less symptoms, be stronger, having more energy or whatever, if you put action and commitment into that, that can be possible. So hopefully I've inspired you a little bit to make some changes in case you live in a very stressful moment of your life. And please know that I hear you, I feel you, I know what you guys going through, and I really hope that from today you can get some insightful thoughts and that can literally make your life experience a bit better. So by definition, stress can be physical or emotional, and it is characterized by this overwhelming and hard to manage situation. We all respond to stress in different ways, depending on our upbringing, our health status, our genetics, emotional growth. So we will all respond to a stressful situation in different ways. So the next concept coming to you guys is quite of an important one, which is the feeling of being stressed is never only in your head. A stressful situation, which could be physical or emotional, will cause some physiological changes that are driven by parts of your nervous system, which is called the sympathetic nervous system, which is the part of the nervous system which modulates the excitatory, the response towards a stressful situation. For instance, when we face, let's say we have to face a fight, we have to face a predator, we have to face a very difficult moment, our body will produce the so-called stress hormones, which are most notably adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. These hormones will have very specific physiological effects on the body. So for instance, they will speed up your blood circulations, they will increase blood pressure, your heart rate will also go up. And that's because within this stressful situation, your body will need more energy, more nutrients, more oxygen to those parts of the body which are mostly needed if you have to fight a predator or run away from it, which are your muscles, your brain, also your sensory level will increase so that you can perceive more dangers. Your lung capacity will expand so that you can take in more oxygen that you need for your body to do whatever oxygen is needed for. And the body will also produce more energy. So you will basically becoming a superhuman. You will have more strength, more energy. You can run faster. You can have more strength as well. So that's called the fight or flight response, which is actually a survival mode. But sometimes the Western lifestyle keeps us on a fight or flight mode constantly. So we are in a constant sympathetic activation mode, and when we are in this constant mode, the body will prioritize nutrients and energy towards production of those stress hormones, which literally steals away nutrients and energy from, for instance, from your thyroid gland. So people that experience high levels of stress might be having issues with the thyroid, like hypothyroidism, when the thyroid is underactive. But also in the same way as the thyroid gets depleted from nutrients, your sex organs will also be depleted from nutrients as well. And in males will be your testes, and in female will be your ovaries. So people experiencing high levels of stress might also have issues with fertility and conceiving children. So that's one aspect of it's called hormonal triad. It's a triangle where you've got the thyroid at the top, adrenal glands, and your sex glands, and all the nutrients are converted towards and directed towards your adrenal glands to produce stress hormones. During a fight or flight response, your body will also take nutrients away from your digestive system. So that's when perhaps people might develop issues like acid reflux or ulcers or IBS type of symptoms. Because when you are in that state, the body needs the energy for other systems and takes energies and nutrients away from these other non-vital systems when you are in that state. And also gut health, you know, once you start playing around gut health and digestive system, that can link into and cause other more serious conditions like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, inflammatory conditions of the gut. And from that point, you can develop systemic issues. Also, stress is linked to low immune function and cardiovascular disease and insomnia, which is like sleep issues. Are you guys there? Are you with me? Following? Is that okay? Amazing. Thank you. So stress again, please remember, keep this concept in mind that stress is not just in your mind, will affect your body on a physiological level. And when stress is sustained over a long period of time, then it's when we might have some issues. So let's say that, you know, once we get over, you know, we run away from a predator, or we, you know, the danger has gone, the body will switch from sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system, nervous activation, and that will switch things back to normality. So you will feel relaxed again. So from a nutritional point of view, you know, talking to you about stress and what you can do to manage stress and all the conditions and symptoms associated with it in like 20 minutes, it's a kind of a mission impossible. But I kind of shrunk it down into some sections just to make, just hopefully that will make sense to you, and you can get away with some insightful information. So when people come and see me because they're stressed or because they have conditions linked to stress, I will love to address those other issues first. So if they come to me with thyroid issues, I will look into that and we'll work around stress as a secondary, because that issue there is very, very important to deal with. I might also want to look into not exacerbating stress levels by reducing acid forming food or pro-inflammatory food, because also this type of food will increase a biochemical stress levels. And I might also look into decreasing my clients' toxins exposure. Anything that will burden the body, that will inflame the body, or it will cause a biological imbalance, that's what I will be working on. From a more of a specific, you know, point of view, tackling stress itself, you might want to use some supplements. There are some amazing supplements. I'm not sure if you guys have used any before or if you're against supplements, but supplements is something I use to fast track people to recovery. And there are some amazing supplements that you know, are called adaptogenic, that comes from different kinds of herbs and you know, herbs roots. Things like radiola, for instance, or ashwagandha. Have you guys heard of these two before? Radiola or ashwagandha. These products are available in any health food shop, but you can also buy them online. And for instance, radiola has been proven to decrease cortisol levels, which is one of the main stress hormones. You can also use, I also, for instance, use magnesium, which is one of the most, you know, abundant nutrients within the body, for especially with people that have got anxiety type of issues. Or I might want to use a B vitamin complex for people, for instance, that have got issues with energy production, that are fatigued, or that have, for instance, have got a low brain function. So they're very kind of, they're very slow. So for this kind of people, I will use a B vitamins complex. So you've got the radiola, you've got the ashwagandha. You can also use ginseng, which is another adaptogenic herb. And these ones are the main ones that I tend to use most of the time, just to decrease those stress levels fast and effectively. If the person that have got stress also has sleep issues, sleep is definitely something I prioritize, because sleep regulates your hormonal cycle and your wake sleep balance. So for what concerns sleeps, you can use just some like sleep hygiene techniques, like dimming the lights down at nighttime, having your last meal, your dinner, 3 hours before bedtime, having a hot shower before bedtime. Those ones are like very small, but could be like very effective tricks if sleep is something that you've got issues with. In terms of supplements, that are, again, magnesium would be amazing. It's actually very good to help relax the sleep mode. If magnesium is not enough, I might want to use some sour cherry extract. Sour cherry contains a compound which is very similar in structure and function to melatonin. And melatonin is what your body produces to help you to, literally put you to sleep. So sour cherry and magnesium. Something else I every now and then use is something called 5-HTP, which is a compound extracted from an African plant, which converts within the body into serotonin. And serotonin is the precursor of melatonin. And melatonin is very important because that compound, that hormone, will put you to sleep. You also need to remember that 90% of the total serotonin production happens in your gut. So digestive health, for what concerns sleep, it's very, very important. Super, super important. Some other techniques that I might use, to get stress level down a little bit is very gentle exercise. By exercise, I mean walking in nature, very light yoga, like dancing or cycling, anything that uplifts you, anything that is easy to implement. There is no point of going to the gym if you hate going to the gym. And when people are very stressed, there is no point of putting more stress in by pushing people to do something which is already kind of stressful for the body, because you will need energy, you will need time, you will need commitment to join the gym, for instance. So the key aspect there is to find something that you're passionate about and something which is not stressful at all. Then I'll mention meditation. So Buddhists ask people to meditate if they stressed for 20 minutes. So they recommend people that are stressed to meditate for 20 minutes. If they're very stressed, the recommendation increases up to an hour. I meditate every single morning, and that puts my mindset into, I start my day in the best way possible. Meditation has been proven to decrease anxiety, stress level, depression, and it also increases the brain gray matter volume. So meditation, if you have never experienced it before, I'll definitely recommend you guys to give it a go, because it is a very good practice. And perhaps the last thing I might want to tell you is to allow your body to relax. The key word here is not relax. So we get carried away every day doing our own things, and we get very stressed. But every now and then, at least once a day, please allow a little bit of time for your body just to relax and switch off. That's why I like to meditate, because meditation, you just switch it all down and you silence the brain, which allows like other things to come to a surface, and it is a very good and amazing experience. So this is what I can help my clients with. And if you would like to know more about what I do and what you can do to manage your stress levels, I will invite you guys to have a look on my website, and within the blog section there are 2 articles that I wrote, which I would love everybody to read. One is called There is no value in judging other people, which is kind of a modern guide to navigate through difficult and challenging people. Okay. And the other one is about like my antidote to stress. It's what I've discussed today, but in much more details. So please take a peek at those 2 articles if you have time and would like to know more. So I guess this is me from now. I will leave it to Hake. If you guys have got any questions, please feel free to ask during the Q&A. I'll be happy to reply to all of them. Thank you.
Amazing. So I just want to say thank you very much, Cristiano. Wonderful. I was taking notes, and it's always amazing to hear you share more information, because I always know you're upgrading, you're always learning more, and so grateful for that. I've also muted you, so don't try and shout at anyone. Cool. So thank you so much. I'm going to now talk more about the emotional side to stress. And I first want to say I'm so excited. I've been studying loads today. I've been studying for about a year just on stress. But I wanted to begin by telling my story so that you guys can understand a little bit better about where I'm coming from. So I have been striving my whole life for about as long as I can remember, trying to become someone that I think is successful. Because in my mind, when I saw success, when I saw people who are successful, I thought, man, that's how you do it. That's how you live life. And really what I learned it to be was busyness. And it wasn't striving, which is, going after something with enthusiasm. It was just busyness. It was just doing loads and loads of things and tiring me out. And the main thing that really happened for me was it stopped me from being able to connect with other people. And I would love to hear if anyone has a yes, agrees to this, put in the chat. Have you ever found yourself getting so stressed or you've been overly stressed, or you've been trying to do so much that you end up missing out on the joys of life? You end up bringing your energy levels down. You end up feeling like you can't actually share and connect with other people because it just feels like life is so overwhelming. And this is what I felt like over and over every day. I wasn't able to connect with other people. I wasn't able to relax. And most importantly, I wasn't able to be me, because I was always stressed out to the point where I was having to share with people I'm stressed rather than share with people what's going on in my life and how much what I'm doing. But on the outside, what it looked like is I was successful. I was doing these things. I was trying to mirror that other people were doing. I'd watch other people online, and they would, be out there trying to influence people. They would try to be bettering themselves. But all I was doing was filling this empty void inside me of feeling like, how can I be more busy? How can I be more busy? And it really just ended up feeling as if I was disappointing myself every single time, because I thought when I'd reach these points of being fulfilled in life, like these apparent successes, it would be empty. And so I thought, something isn't right here. What is going on? Why is this thing that I thought is supposed to be fulfilling me not at all? And as I continued trying to do all the time, as Cristiano was saying, I began to have some health issues, especially related to my gut. And this really impacted my life. I got to the point where I basically had a 4-hour window, if that, to be able to eat. And that's because I was producing all this acid that would come up, and it would be so much stress in my body that if I ate too early in the day, I would get acid reflux. It would be awfully uncomfortable. And if I ate too late, I would feel completely dead, tired for the next day, because it affected my sleep. And I thought, man, this is not a way to live my life. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to follow my heart. And one of the first things I started to do was I started to study stress. And this really interesting thing came up. And I'd love if anyone could relate to this at any point. I realized I had an addiction. I realized I was addicted to stress. And I'd never heard this before, and I had no idea that it could be possible. So I want to tell you more about why this addiction came up in my life and how I learned to be addicted, or what this addiction meant for me. So the human brain is this amazing thing. We're not like any other being. We have a gigantic neocortex, which is our frontal lobe, which is able to do something which no animal is able to do, is to think about our thinking. This is called metacognition. We're able to think about what we're thinking. Have you guys ever done this? And you ever caught yourself being like, oh, is that what's going on inside my head? Am I thinking that? And it's just, all we have to do to turn this on is just imagining something, is creating a thought that brings us into the future or brings us into the past. And so we are these intelligent beings, but we also, when not tamed in the right way, this mind becomes a monkey mind, and it actually becomes detrimental to our health. So just think right now, imagine having an uncomfortable conversation with someone. Something, you need to say this to someone. Like, you or in the past, you need to have a conversation with your boss, a family member, a friend. It was something really uncomfortable. And now I want you to think, what are you feeling? Were you able to already turn on these feelings of discomfort? Like, oh man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go through that conversation. And we're able to, by thinking alone, because that has not even happened yet, that conversation, if it's in the future, we're able to either go back in the past and pull from the past and create a feeling that isn't happening in our present moment, and we're able to feel it. Or we're able to tug from the future, which has not happened, and we're able to tug from the future and say, oh, that conversation is really uncomfortable, so I'm going to feel stressed, I'm going to feel anxious, I'm going to feel a whole lot of discomfort, I'm going to feel nervous, and then your palms start to get sweaty, your heart races, and all of a sudden you got to take off your shirt because it's sweating through everything. Okay? And so this is what stress can, this is how you can turn on your stress, by thought alone. Okay? And what, for me, I began to learn that we are, and I love this saying. I remember someone saying this. It was a comedian. He said, humans are no longer in the food chain. Like, we're not a part of that. We don't have to think about turning around and wondering if there's some animals going to eat us. We don't have to even think about really going out and hunting for our food. We don't have to worry about that. We go to a supermarket. That is completely out of it. So where are predators? Where are the things that are meant to stimulate us, that are meant to turn on that natural fight or flight response? They're gone. They're absolutely gone. And so being very intelligent, capable beings with this amazing brain that we have, this neocortex that can turn on thinking and can turn on stress by thought alone, we've decided to create predators. We have had the ability to be able to say, oh man, I'm stuck in traffic. I don't like this. This always makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm stressed. And so traffic becomes our predator. We have a boss, and our boss is always riding us. They're always saying you could do better, or we know that they're judging us, or that we know that they're thinking about, how we should be performing better. Or we have a stepmother, a stepfather who when we go over there, they're like, you're not good enough for my daughter. And they're always thinking that. And this then becomes our predator. This then becomes our experience of stress. And we then, without even having to go through that experience, can turn that on and say, oh, sugar, it's happening again. It's happening again. And we're feeling that stress, but we're not even going through that experience. And why do we do this? Now, in nature, what we do is we want to be prepared for the worst case scenario. Because what the worst case scenario would mean for us is death. Once again, we're not in nature. We're not in this cycle, this food cycle, this food chain anymore. So we're having to recreate the worst case scenario in our minds with something that will not cause death for us. So for example, some people say their worst fear is standing up on a stage and doing public speaking. And other people would say, I'd rather die. Now, some people might be joking, but I think there's a lot of truth in that. I'd rather die than go up and do public speaking. And this is how we've recreated it in our mind. This stress response is we have compared and sort of married this idea of a predator, or what our idea of a predator is, our mother-in-law, our boss, and we think messing that up or having that experience happen to us is death. And so what we do is, as humans, we think about the future. And we think about the future to try and create it so that we're prepared for it. Does anyone relate to this idea that we overthink things to the nth degree? We overthink it so much. And then we're thinking, why am I overthinking this? And then the thing happens and it's like a tiny, like nothing even came close to what you thought had happened. And you got stressed out for no reason. So what is happening here is we're trying to control the unknown. We're trying to create the known. We look into the future, and when we look into the future creates anxiety for us, because that is how anxiety comes, is we look into the future and we create worry. And anxiety is a way for us to try and control the unknown and make it known. So we stress and worry about it over and over and over. And when we look to the past is related to depression. We pick out what has already happened into our life and we try and recreate that situation. And we try and recreate it in the present. We try and recreate it in the future to create everything as a known. Because what if every day we woke up and it was unknown? That's uncomfortable. And then we have to deal with the discomfort. So what I learned was my stress that I was experiencing every day was an addiction, because I was addicted to safety. I was addicted to trying to create safety in my life every single day. And being successful and being productive in my life meant that I would be successful, or it meant that I wouldn't have to experience stress, because it would allow me to feel like I could relax. And this addiction came from trying to always predict the future. So I want to quickly go into solutions, because that was a lot. That was a mind dump on you guys. So I want to quickly go into solutions. So the main thing is for me, how can we overcome this habit? How can we overcome this addiction? So first thing is your brain. Your brain is super cool. There's been so many years that scientists have said your brain cannot change. Now there's a really cool subject called neuroplasticity. I really encourage you to look at it. I'll explain it very briefly in saying it's our brain's ability to rewire itself. So we're able to basically say, I've got this habit. I'm going to, rather than it going this way, I'm going to rewire with different habits, and I'm going to make it go this way for my benefit. Okay. And so this really cool idea that we can rewire our brain to benefit the habits that bring, that allow us to let go of stress in our life. So a lot of the way we live is we live from the past. We live from what has already happened. We try and create our world in the present as if it's already something that's happened. And this helps us to keep calm and stay in the known. And we also look to the future to try and predict the future so that we don't have to deal with the discomfort of living in the present. Now let's get rid of the past and let's get rid of the future, because none of those are ever what we're living in. We're only ever living in this present moment. And so in the present moment, everything can be changed. We can do everything. In the present moment, we can overcome the addiction to stress. In the present moment, we can let go of the anxiety of the future, and we can let go of the depression of the past. And we can call upon what we want to create. And the way we create this is by not just acting from our thoughts, because our thoughts are what create stress, but we can't just change our thoughts and change our world immediately. It takes time. So we also have to change our emotions, because raise your hand or put a yes if when you're stressed out, you feel it physically. Like you feel either like like a headache, a migraine in your stomach, you feel lethargic. That's a physical sensation. That's no longer just thought. That is something that you are feeling. So when we're stressed, we have to come into the present moment and overcome our thoughts and overcome our addiction to our emotions that are creating us, that are constantly bringing us into a stressed out mode. So we do this by bringing up positive emotions. We do this by welcoming in emotions of love, of gratitude, of appreciation. So I'm going to talk about that just in a minute, but I want us to do one thing first. When we're welcoming in these positive emotions, sometimes it can feel like what's lacking in being genuine. So what I want you to do right now is, wherever you are, I want you to sit up straight. I want you to draw your shoulders back. I want you to open up your heart. So while opening up your shoulders, I want you to put your chin up like this, and I want you to put a big grin on your face. Okay, just try to put a big smile on your face like that. And now I want you to tell me that you're depressed. I am depressed. I am depressed. I am depressed. Okay, keep on holding your shoulders up. Keep on holding it. Okay, I want you to really try and convince me, okay? The more you try and convince me, the more I want you to smile. I am depressed. I am depressed. Okay, for anyone who could do it, you may have had to change some of your physiology. Now I want you to do it again, okay? And I want you now hunch your shoulders over like this. Close your shoulders. Okay, put your head down. No smiling. Okay, smiling is not allowed. This is disallowed, against the rules. Okay, and then we're going to frown a little bit. And I want you to say, I'm happy. In this tone, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. Is anyone convinced I'm happy? Okay, so now we can get out of that. Come back up. Let's come back. Open the shoulders. Open up the heart. Bring that smile back in. This is our posture. This is our physiology allowing us. This is our physiology saying, oh, you can enjoy life. When you open up your shoulders, you're opening up your heart. You're saying, everything in my world I'm able to receive. I am able to deal with. That's what this body posture says. This body posture says, oh shit, I'm small. I don't want to deal with life. Any of these things that are coming in my life, I can't deal with. Keep them away. And I can always feel difference when I'm coming from this place. So the first thing is being aware of your posture, opening your body up, opening your heart. Another one is, let's take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath in. Holding it in and letting out a big sigh. Now we do this naturally sometimes when we're stressed. Like we're like pulling our hair, we're scratching our eyes, and we go, Now, this is our body's way. This is basically, there's a nerve called the vagus nerve being sent up right to the brain. And this message in this vagus nerve sending to the brain is saying, relax, chill the F out, just calm down. And as we do that, we sigh, we breathe out, we relax. And so those two things, when you're coming from a place of stress, open up your body, open up your heart, stand tall, put your head up to the sky, chin up, give a little smile, and also do some sighs. That primes you for bringing in more positive emotions. It makes it feel like, oh, I actually am more confident. I actually am feeling better. And then when you start bringing in the positive emotions like love, joy, happiness, appreciation, they feel more genuine. They feel much more genuine. Okay. So those have been my quick tips. And I just wanted to say, this is something that you have to repeat over and over and over to really figure out a way to say, okay, this stress is not controlling me. I am the controller of my life. I choose if I want to feel stressed. I don't really want to feel stressed. Open up the shoulders, smile, bring in love, bring in gratitude, bring in joy. Okay, so we have gone a little bit over on time. I apologize. I hope this hasn't caused anyone any issues. But if we can we'll now open up the floor for any questions that anyone has, and you can unmute yourself if you have a question. You're so welcome, Ross.
Hey.
Hey, Juan.
I was just wondering if Cristiano could share his website, the link for his website.
Sure, Juan. It's Nutrition Shift, all one word. Nutrition. I'll put it down in the comments.
Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Jane.
Hi. I am a bit late. I didn't hear most of the things that's been said, so I have a question about your tips. Okay, I suppose it's like we can focus more on positives, and that way is kind of move our brain towards feeling better when we're stressed.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time when I try to do that, I still can feel the pain. I can still feel the stress. I can still sense it. This is there, and it's distressing. Would you recommend in that situation?
Yeah. Okay. So it's a very good point, because we think, okay, surely if I'm thinking a positive thought, or if I want to be happy, then why can't I be happy now? Like what's the problem here? If you were to speak to an alcoholic, and you were to say to them, like, they've said, okay, I'm feeling good, and then you give them a bottle of wine, and then they start drinking it back, would you be surprised? And it's if they still have that addiction, they may be feeling good, but it has been years and years and years of an ingrained addiction that feeds so much sort of purpose in our life. Because when we're in our addiction, when we're stressed, although it may feel funny, we actually it's an arousal. It's an arousal experience that we get when we get stressed, because it's a reminder that we're in the known, and it's actually a feeling of safety, because we do it so much. And that's what people who are addicted to drugs, alcohol, any addiction, it's a feeling that you get that releases pleasure, an experience of pleasure. And so in order to rewire your brain, it is basically your brain is saying, okay, so you're telling me we spent 20, 30, 40, 50 years of feeling awful, and you're gonna, spend 2 months of trying to be happy, and we're just gonna change? And be like, no. That's not how it works. And because you're gonna feel this friction, you're gonna feel this resistance with the way in which your mind accepts that we're just going to change, because your body is wired. It's wired to have that addiction. And you try and take it away. Anyone who has ever had anything they've been addicted to, like cookies, sweets, exercise, anything, you take it away, and it's like, God, I want that. I want it. It takes time to rewire the brain. It takes time neurochemically. I mean, there are all these chemicals like dopamine that are rushing up to your brain when you indulge in this in this addiction, which I'm calling it addiction because for me, I've learned stress is an addiction. There are all these chemicals that are being released in your body that remind you to keep on staying this way. So it takes time. Has that answered your question, Jane?
Sorry, yes, I just
Yeah.
quit Zoom for a second
Okay.
accidentally.
No worries.
Yes, it's clear now. I just I guess I haven't tried to change this habit for long enough time for me to actually change it.
Hang in there, Jane.
Yeah, for
Sorry?
sure.
Hang in there. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, whatever you're fighting with or against, stay always with a positive mindset and visualize also yourself. Be able to, see yourself how you want to see yourself as, and
Yeah,
focus on that and work on that.
definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So welcome.
Cristiano,
Yes.
I had a question for you. You mentioned a herbal supplement alongside ashwagandha to reduce stress. What was
That's right. I'll put it down. It's called radiola. I'll put it down here.
Radiola, okay.
I think it's
And to reiterate about the supplements which increase your energy, perhaps you can take them in the morning. I know I have trouble getting out of bed, so I think it'll be very useful for me to get my hands on some. Will they B vitamins?
So, yes, of course. So if you have issues getting up from bed in the morning, what I will work on is your sleep patterns.
Yes.
So I will definitely work on improving your sleep patterns somehow. You can work with supplements again, sleep hygiene techniques, but definitely your sleep is something I will focus your energy on. Because when we are lethargic in the morning, that means that you might have issues with hormonal balance.
Right.
Yes. So actually, the cortisol, which is produced by the body when in the morning, you are going to get some light going through your closed eyes,
Yes.
and that will start a chemical reaction that will produce cortisol, and cortisol eventually will make you awake.
Yeah, because I usually get up and then fall asleep, fall back asleep. I get out of bed and then I'm like, you know what, I'm so tired, and I just get back into bed. So
okay, Ross, there might be other reasons for that. For instance, perhaps you might want to look into your breakfast as well.
yes.
For instance, if you have high sugar breakfast, that could cause a lethargic downwards of energy. So that could be another reasons why you have this slump of energy mid morning. So having a breakfast which will include complex carbohydrates, proteins, and perhaps some good fats from seeds, nuts, avocado might sustain your energy levels for longer. So avoid all the cornflakes, all the cakes and biscuits in the morning, and have a more of a robust kind of breakfast. If you like actually some ideas on some really good breakfast recipe, on the homepage of my website you can get a free ebook which includes 15 plant-based breakfast ideas, and plus some others insightful thoughts to have a good morning start. So that's free for you. You just need to put your email address in the relevant box and press yes please, and you will receive an incredible PDF document which will have like some really nutritious breakfast. That could be a place to start and think about your sleep. If you sleep good and sleep okay, then sleep is not the issue. There might be other problems involved.
Okay, thank you very much. That was very insightful, especially about your brain producing cortisol even if you sleep sometimes during into the day when the daylight hits you. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cortisol spikes very early in the morning, so that you have energies to do whatever you need to do. I'll put my the name of the website is just a few comments above here. If you look into the comment chart, it's nutritionshift.co.uk if you would like to get those free recipes.
Already been done, man. Already put my email address in. Thank you.
Wonderful, awesome.
Cheers.
Cristiano, are you available? So, can you see this?
Yes.
Well, it contains a lot of the components you mentioned, and well, Hake steered me in this direction maybe a year ago, maybe longer, and it definitely worked. Maybe as a anxiety reducing means, and then it seems like I adapted to it. I'm not sure it lost its effect. Is that possible?
So it's not working anymore, you mean?
Well, I mean, I've stopped it. Maybe at the time I needed it, and maybe I don't now. But I think it was more than a placebo effect. I really think it had a positive impact. But then it stopped, and it diminished. I didn't feel the same effects.
Okay. So why are you taking this product for? What's the reason you're taking this? Yeah, what's the reason? Yeah, what are you trying to achieve by taking this product?
Well, at the time, there was a job change. There was other things that I was experiencing a lot of stress, anxiety, related stuff. Sleep could have been too.
Yeah.
Still, sleep is a big variable, and those have sort of given way. So maybe I don't need, but yeah, that kind of something to relax me. Relaxing.
Okay,
that's
okay, fine. So these two are majorly related to digestive health. So if you on top of sleep and anxiety, I don't need you to share this with me, but if you are experiencing any IBS type of symptoms, constipation, diarrhea, acid reflux, bloating, being gassy, burping. If you have any of these, gut issues, I will definitely look into working on your gut, because in your gut you produce 90% of the serotonin. And remember that the serotonin is the melatonin precursor, but also good bacteria in your gut produce a neurotransmitter called GABA. GABA, which stands for gamma aminobutyric acid, which is a neurotransmitter that switches you off. So if you suffer with anxiety, look into your digestive health. You can work with some probiotics and prebiotics, and Hake can help you with that. Or if you have any more questions, what I can do for you, I'll give you my email address. Let me just put it here. And if you have any questions, you can drop me a line anytime.
great. Thank you.
So I'm a firm believer that the body is has got this inner ability to self-heal. A part is the placebo effect, which is just our own ability to self-repair and self-heal. But then on top of that, if we put supplements, if we change our lifestyle, if we change our the way we eat and the way we think, then the body should be able to recover 100%. If the body doesn't recover, to me and my understanding and my belief and my clinical practice, it is because something that we constantly do, or we constantly think, or we constantly eat keeps us in a state of illness. Does that make sense?
In a state of what?
In a state of illness. So it keeps us sick, ill, keeps us ill. So keep on, don't give up, ever give up on your a better working towards a better conditions. Because if you find those few things that can really make a change, then you will be thriving. But if you have any questions, please feel free to email me.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Very welcome. Adrian, any questions from your side, from the car?
Hold on, I'm going to try and unmute her.
I got it. Yeah, I did have one question. You mentioned prebiotics and probiotics. What's the difference between pre and pro?
So prebiotic is basically food for the probiotics. When you talk about probiotic, you're talking about gut flora, friendly bacteria. You're talking about the microbiome, and you basically have more gut bacteria than your entire body cells put together. So these bacteria in your guts are actually regulators of your metabolism. Without these bacteria, you won't be able to survive. And they are called probiotic. But you also have the prebiotics, which is anything from the plant food world. So basically fiber. And this fiber feeds your probiotics. So if you want to have a good gut health, you need to have good probiotics, good bacteria, but you also need to feed them with plant-based food.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I guess I just have another question. I mean, like anything, you were talking about hormones, but
yeah,
I'm 53, so menopause, I'm assuming, can really make a big impact.
Yeah, because bacteria in your gut do regulate your hormones as well, and it's your body. Your body is not just individual systems. Your body is being made up by all these systems put together, and they all talk to each other. So when you think about menopause, you think about hormones, but that's not just the hormones being involved. You have digestive health, you have stress, you have liver and detoxification, you have many other things that will impact on hormonal balance. You also need to think of that there are some hormones mimicking compounds out there, like plastic, for instance, things that you find in tap waters can shift or can mess about your hormonal cycle. So when you talk about hormones, it's a much more of a bigger picture than just hormones. But working on the digestive system, if there are any like small issues, will always be a good approach, because your digestive system is the interface between you and the environment. So if you have a strong immune digestive system, everything else will fall into place beautifully.
Okay, thank you.
And yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And again, Adrian, if you will have any more questions, specific questions on menopause, please drop me a line.
Okay, I'm sure I will.
Perfect.
Actually, I'm going to hit the road because I've got another hour and a half to drive.
Oh, bless.
And I desperately need to be and know where to be.
Is that stressing you out?
No, not yet. I mean, I'm sure I can find a cup.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's always great. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having joined us then.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Safe journey. Safe journey.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Cool. Does anyone have any other questions they wanted to ask? Okay. If you do, feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. But I'll bring this to a close. I first want to thank everyone so much for coming. It's really nice to have these conversations in this way, because it's, you know, being able to have these the chat, the conversation there, you know, when we're typing in, for you guys to be able to ask questions. It really, I don't know, for me, it uplifts me in a way, because we create this small community which otherwise wouldn't be happening. So it's really nice for everyone to have joined in. Thank you. And thank you very much, Cristiano, for blessing us with your knowledge and wisdom. So appreciate that very much, and I think I speak for others as well. And for anyone, so welcome. And for anyone wanting to find out more, I think Cristiano said a number of times where you can find him. It's his in the group chat on Nutrition Shift. nutritionshift.org, is it, or .co.uk? .co.uk. And if you ever have any questions or wanting to work one-to-one with him, he does that, and you can contact him, as well as myself. If you ever want to get in contact, I also offer one-to-one coaching, and in the very near future, on the 1st of June, for anyone interested, I will be opening up an action and accountability group, which I'm very excited about. And we already have some people joining in, and this is a really amazing way for you to connect with not just one other person, but everyone in the group, and it builds a community like this. And it's every day there's a way for you to keep your focus on what it is you want to create, the habits, the life that you want to be living. So for anyone who's interested in that, feel free to get in touch with me. And that is it. We will potentially be organizing another one, which would be a bit longer, a bit more in depth, because as Cristiano said, he had the biggest challenge is trying to fit in with the limited time a massive amount of information. So we will be getting in contact with you guys if there is another one. So I hope to see you there. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All the best,
Thank you
everyone.
very much, Cristiano.
Very welcome, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.